finding project for CSCI-83C, when tweet sentiments help predict the stock market. The data sources that I used was the Twitter API, specifically the search API, and Polygon.io's stock price API. Here's the high-level architecture of my project. I used Python apps to extract data of both the Polygon.io API and the Twitter search API. Polygon API was more of a batch process that extracted data for previous completed days, whereas the search API was a cron job that ran every 15 minutes, and every time it ran for 5 minutes and extracted a sample of tweets and wrote to files. And all this was stored locally. And downstream, I had Spark batch processes that loaded the stock data into table in Postgres. I also had another batch process which loaded data that I had extracted previously in terms of tweets, and determined sentiments using Stanford's core NLP library and wrote back the results into a table in Postgres. I also had a streaming app which poured against a local directory. As and when new files were available in the directory, the streaming app would kick off, determine sentiments for the tweets, and write to the same table as what the batch process had written into. Sort of a Lambda architecture. And I had used Tableau to visualize data in these tables, which would help answer the question that I had, if stock market data somehow correlates with the sentiments that are in the sample of tweets. From within Tableau, which is querying the table I've loaded into, I refresh the Tableau view, and you can see that the only data that's present in the table is for 5th of December. That's the date for which I batch loaded data. Now what I'm going to do is run the streaming process. Now you're going to my terminal, and I could query or list the directory /streaming with a memory repo that there's no files in it. And I have the streaming app that's running above, the Spark Scala app, which is holding this directory. And as soon as I paste, I'm copying files pertaining to 6th December into the streaming directory. And you can see now there are a bunch of files in there. And as soon as the files land, the streaming process kicks off, and the data is now being continuously processed. Go and refresh the data. You can see that now you see a bar for 6th December. So the data was stream loaded into the tables, and now you have the data for 6th. Now, going back to the question that I want to answer, is there a correlation between tweet sentiments and the stock market performance, specifically for S&P 500? Here's the plot for the two for December the 6th, and I averaged out the running average of the tweet sentiments by minute, and it's compared against the stock price at the time, and I generalized the plots using trend lines of 4-degree polynomial. And if you compare the trend lines, there is a rise and a drop, and there is a similar pattern exhibited by the trend line for sentiments. But can you say for sure that there is a relation? No. There's just 1 day worth of data, not enough data to help answer the question. I ran out of time. Since the tweet sentiments are live data, I cannot really get historical data out of the Twitter API. So I'll have to do it every day, have the process run correct sentiments, and do it over a period of time before I can truly establish that there is a correlation. And also, we'll have to do time series analysis and more statistically in-depth analysis before one can truly say if there is a relationship. Thank you for your time. I can take questions now. Thank you.